Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is Hazel Lucia Tarot. I'm your tarot reader Stephanie, and today's reading is about what you are protected from. We're going to tap into your spirit guides, your guardian angels, and the universe to see what it is that you are protected from currently, in the past, and in the future as well. I was kind of guided to do this reading. I've never really done one like this before. But before we get started, let's talk about our sponsor for today's video, Psychic Source. Psychic Source lets you connect with professional gifted advisors in whichever way you feel the most comfortable, whether that's through phone call, video chat, or through texting. They are one of the oldest and most trusted psychic services in the industry with over 35 years of experience. By using my link below, you can connect with one or multiple advisors for up to 40 minutes for just $19.80. That's up to a $240 value. The best part is, you don't need to use up all your minutes up in the first session. This helps you find the best advisor for your needs. So try Psychic Source by clicking the link below in the description. We have 3 piles here for you today. Pile 1, we have the smoky quartz. Pile 2, we have black tourmaline. And pile 3, we also have smoky quartz, but in point form. So take a few deep breaths, tap into your heart, tap into the root as well to get grounded, and I'll be ready for your reading whenever you are. Hello there, pile 1. If you chose the smoky quartz tumbled stone, then we have a reading here for you about what you are being protected from. We're going to see what you are protected from and by whom, if you have any specific guides or angels that want to come through. So we're going to start with the card you chose, which is Niriti, misfortune. So I do feel like a lot of you have been very protected from misfortune. I feel like where a lot of people have been very unlucky to have experienced some things either in your area or maybe people of your background or people of your generation, etc. You've been able to overcome that, or you've been able to avoid it altogether. Maybe you're aware of this, but I feel like for a lot of you, wherever you come from or whatever your background is, you've been able to avoid something that people of your, either where you come from, your generation, your age group, something like you've been able to avoid that. So I feel like you do have a lot of good luck when it comes to being protected from certain things. We also have Archangel Michael, which is interesting because I was being guided to light my candle. I actually have a candle for Archangel Michael. You can't see it. I light it off to the side because I channel a little bit better when I have candles lit with fire. So for a lot of you, you're definitely being very heavily guarded by Archangel Michael. If you work with archangels, he is known for carrying a sword to vanquish evil spirits, evil energy, negativity in general. Also to cut cords from either to people who would be very negative or situations that wouldn't serve you. So you definitely have a strong guidance here from your spirit guides and archangels. We have the Now. We have Test. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this card. This is a hoop set on fire. Something about fire being very protective or being protected from fires for those of you who have experienced something like that. We have Transform. This goes with the Now. We have Wisdom, Owl, and Shiva, Destroyer. So I feel like for a lot of you, you have experienced either destructive things around you or you've been around destructive situations, maybe even people. But there's something here about you learning from people's mistakes, you learning from the environment around you, how to guide yourself in better ways. It's like rather than become the very thing that you fear or that was being very oppressive in your surroundings, pile 1, you've learned to become not just wiser here with the owl, but to be very, to learn from your experiences. I feel like whatever you grew up with, you learned how to avoid it or how to handle it or how to deal with it. Because I can tell that a lot of you have had some rather traumatic events that maybe at the time you didn't recognize as traumatic, but as you've gotten older or as time went on, you kind of recognized that it was affecting you and impacting your life more than you recognized. And then you recognized it as trauma. And therefore, you're able to handle those situations well when it comes to either helping people through that same situation or getting yourself out of a situation that could end up in that way. It's interesting because to me specifically, owls are very protective. They're a protective animal. I know they're typically seen as wisdom or even associated with like the night or death here. But for me specifically, they represent protection because your own intuition is also your intellect, your intelligence, and your intelligence will protect you. It's learning how to cope with certain situations, things. I feel like a lot of you do try to rationalize a lot of the things that you have gone through here, pile one. So it wouldn't surprise me if you're a little bit more of logic than you are of emotion. And I feel like that's just one way that you protected yourself, is learning to process your emotions through logic. With test, I do feel like a lot of you feel that you are being tested every now and again. And sometimes you rise to the occasion. Sometimes you're not afraid of being able to stand up for yourself or stand up for others. I feel like there's something here about you understanding that every time you see that situation, you want to help others through it. So it wouldn't surprise me if part of your life purpose is to help people overcome the very thing that you had to overcome either in youth or in your past here, pile one. For example, if you had a childhood and maybe you were if you were a child of divorce, you grew up to be a divorce attorney or something along those lines, something similar. Or if you underwent certain health problems, you grew up to be a nurse or a doctor that helps in that very specific health problem. Because with Destroyer, I do feel like you understand that certain things are not meant to last forever. And maybe at one point you had to really come to understand that that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes we are meant to be in this world to get rid of the negativity, to help people with their problems. It's kind of like you've accepted it as something normal and something to overcome. Like a lot of you have a warrior mentality, like a emotional, mental, or spiritual warrior mentality here. Like you know what your life purpose is, or you could soon learn what your life purpose is here, because I feel like it is tied to what you had to go through growing up and you want to help people through this very thing. With the now, I feel like you're always in the present moment. Like for a lot of you, you may not even enjoy looking into the past as much, and maybe not even the future either. You're very much somebody who would like to take things as they are, to be in the present, to be in the now. And that's actually a great thing because that's how intuition works. Intuition urges you to stay in the moment, in the present, to be aware of where you are currently in this moment, in this state. Maybe some of you meditate as well, because I see some of you not always really caring about the future, but definitely preparing for it, regardless of what it may bring. Transform lets me know that a lot of you have gone through deep transformations and you're not afraid of allowing people to give them the space to transform as well. Very deep energy here. And I feel like a lot of you came here just to see if you would be protected with this very specific life purpose going forward. And I'm hearing yes, because when you have a life purpose that you need to seek out, that you want to manifest and see actualized, I feel like the universe will co-conspire with you to make it happen here. So a lot of you, it's very deep, powerful energy. It almost kind of, I feel it so much in the heart, between the heart and the throat, which is where we find our sympathy. I forget what the chakra is called, if it even has a name, but this is where we have our empathy, our sympathy for people. So I feel like you're very, very full of this very particular energy, and it's very lovely. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the tarot, where we're going to see more specifically what you are protected from. Owls could be an important image as well. I know I see owls whenever I get specific messages from the universe, but I do see them more as an animal of protection than anything, me personally. So let's go ahead and get your tarot. All right, so what is my pile one being protected from? We have the 10 of coins. I feel like the world wants to bring you a lot of stability. I feel like part of your upbringing, you had to kind of learn to be okay with having Something stable. Maybe you grew up in an environment where you didn't have a lot of stability, whether that was financial, emotional, or even physical. Like maybe you never really lived in one place for too long, or you were constantly having to change something up. So one thing that the universe has conspired to bring to you, pile one, is some form of stability where you can build upon. And I feel like you find comfort in being able to find structure in things. So maybe some of you like to get lost in either work because that provides a sense of structure, or maybe you have a schedule that you set for yourself even if nobody really asks you to. I'm thinking of people who like to make a schedule for themselves on a day-to-day basis, especially those people who work from home or work from themselves. I feel like organization gives you some sort of comfort, and that's one way that you protect yourself from either the unknown or the unexpected. What are certain people or energies that you are protected from? Okay, we got 3. The Star, the Hangman, Justice. Okay, lots of air energy here because we have Aquarius and Libra with this, and Hangman is Pisces. So I feel like you've had to deal with people who are very charismatic. It's interesting what I'm seeing. So I feel like there are people here who kind of like to either, maybe some of you are literally in like, you work in a legal profession like law, or even a paralegal, or maybe you could be an attorney, because that's what Matt Murdock is here with Justice. But I feel like some of you, you're very protected from people who are very charismatic, because one way to see the Hangman and the Star in this particular position is from narcissists, or people who would use their influence and their popularity or the positive public opinion of themselves against you. Does that make sense? I feel like, and again, I tend to see this as more narcissistic because some narcissists are known for being very well liked. It's part of their whole thing. It's like they're very charming, but then you see the ugly side of them. And for a lot of you, I feel like you've had to learn how to deal with this. Like, I don't know how to, it's going to be different for all of you, but I feel like justice is on your side regardless of how people either feel about this person or people. Because I see you being stigmatized by somebody who was otherwise like really popular, really adored, really loved by everybody else, to the point where they couldn't believe the things that you would say about them. So I feel like karma is on your side when it comes to this kind of situation. Maybe you've even seen this where somebody who was really well liked did you wrong, and then you see them go through some sort of karmic justice or something along these lines. It's not going to be everybody, but for a lot of you, you have to deal with someone who is otherwise very liked, even though you've seen a really ugly side to them, or you see through the facade that they have. Because I feel like, yeah, with the moon reversed, it just happened to look at it. You've seen certain secrets that maybe you weren't meant to see, or maybe it's interesting, very strong Pisces energy here. It's like, and when I think of the Pisces sign, people open up to them very naturally because they're the natural therapists of the zodiac. So I feel like people open up to you in both good and bad ways. Like, people might confess to you things that you kind of don't understand why they bring this up to you, but I feel like that's the energy you have. So maybe some of you have very strong Pisces placements. But the negative side of that is that you get to see through everything, including the illusion that some of these people may present. But I feel like justice and karma is on your side more often than not. Sorry, that energy was very strong. I had to kind of decipher it because I feel like when you meet certain people, they present a certain way, and the more you get to know them, the more you see the reality of who they are. But you're very protected from them with this ability to see through them. Which is actually my next question is, what ability do you have to protect yourself that the universe has granted you? We have the 4 of Cups reversed. You're very emotionally intelligent, because usually upright, the 4 of Cups is like holding on to emotions or being like wallowing in self-pity. You do wallow in emotions, not to stay stagnant and stuck in them. It's more like to understand why people feel or do certain things. It's like, why does this person make me feel this way? Or why does why does this person make others feel this way? It's interesting. I'm trying to tap into this energy, and it's very heavy. I feel like you're very emotionally intelligent and emotionally aware. You're really able to see through people. Very perceptive as well. Some people love this, some people don't. I feel like they love it at first because you literally see people for who they are. But the double-sided sword of that is that you also see they're ugly. You see the negative. You see the things that maybe they don't want anybody else to see. So you were blessed with a lot of emotional intelligence, emotional literacy, if you will. What are certain guides or spirits or angels that are protecting you that you could possibly tap into? And anybody that came out in the oracles can count as well. Like I said, Archangel Michael and the goddess Niriti, or even owls. And Shiva, the god Shiva. We have the Two of Wands. I'm seeing, and I don't know what their names are, I'm seeing literally two angels or two spirits. I don't know if they're archangels or guardian angels. Guardian angels would be more like the people you knew in a past, not a past life, well, maybe a past life, but in your life, like grandparents tend to become some of our first angels. Pets can become angels as well. So I'm seeing two specific people here. It could be like a set of grandparents. It could be a mother and a grandmother, or maybe two pets that you had. But I'm seeing two specific angelic beings. And it's interesting that we have Cerebro here. Cerebro in the X-Men comics is this device that you put on, and it helps the mutants find other mutants so that they can help them out. And similarly, I feel like these guardian angels help you find people that either can help you on your journey or that you can help on their journey. I feel like they guide you towards good people. So that's rather lovely, honestly. And anything else you need to know about what pile 1 is being protected from? We have the 5 of coins. You're also protected from lack or from being, I feel like some of you have avoided being either homeless or living in very unfortunate situations. I feel like, I feel like a lot of you have been protected from dire situations. That's literally what the 5 of Pentacles is. Because if you remember in the Rider-Waite, it's like the people outside and they're literally walking by a church, but they're not seeing it. I feel like a lot of you have had the fortune of either being really close to a place that can help you out or having friends that can help you. Because I feel like there's a generosity to this card. Usually I associate that with the 6 of Pentacles, but the 5 of Pentacles lets me know that you've avoided this. It's like by the skin of your teeth. You were almost homeless, but luckily you met somebody who was able to take you in, or maybe you've just been blessed with like very generous family or something along those lines. Very interesting energy. And then back of the deck, we have the 4 of Pentacles. I feel like a lot of you, and this isn't to shame you or anything, this is just like a natural tendency that some people have is hoarding. Like, so I feel like some of you hoard something specifically that again gives you that stability. For a lot of you, it's going to be money. Maybe you're really good at saving money and you kind of penny pinch because you don't want to spend on anything unnecessary, which is a good thing. I feel like if you want to hoard something, money is one of those things, unless you're like a multi-billionaire, in which case I don't know, I'm trying not to judge, but but even then, I feel like a lot of you, your sense of safety comes from hoarding something. It could even be books for information. It could be, for some of you, I'm hearing degrees. Maybe some of you have gone to school extensively and you have like more degrees than is necessary, which is always great. I feel like you can never have too much intelligence, but there is something that you collect in abundance, and some people could even see it as like self-indulgent, but to you it's actually some sort of emotional support because you didn't have it in a past situation. Or I keep saying past life. For some of you, this could have been a past life, but in your past. Maybe for some of you, it's like jewelry. I don't know, something very specific. It may or may not make sense to everybody else, but it makes sense to you. And there's no shame in that. I feel like if it makes you feel safe, if it gives you comfort, that's fine here. Pile 1. I almost said pile 5 and I only have 3 piles in this reading. But with that said, let's move on to your closing advice. Your closing cards. And I want to thank you again for clicking on this reading and visiting our sponsor if you did. I know I enjoy working with them. and they're very gifted advisors as well. But for my pile 1, closing advice for my pile 1, we have I forgive myself. This breaks my heart because I feel like a lot of you kind of blame yourself for things of the past that are actually not your fault. There's no way it could be your fault because I'm seeing, I mean, look at this sweet little frog. It makes me think of a child with these pink little cowgirl boots. I feel like some of you believe that something deep down is your fault. And I feel like even now as an adult, you recognize that it's not, but maybe you really had to work really hard through this self-forgiveness wound, through having to heal yourself, or this guilt wound that you have that just for whatever reason you took on very deeply. I feel it very deep in the heart as well. So for a lot of you, I want to give you such a big hug because I feel like it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Forgive yourself, yes, but I feel like you don't even have to because, again, it's not your fault. But maybe this is one way that you've learned to forgive others as well. It's through forgiving yourself first. Let's get one more card from this reading. Or sorry, this deck. We have, I give myself permission to be the person I want to be. For a lot of you, I feel like this has kind of repressed aspects of yourself that you felt that you weren't allowed to express. Again, either through guilt, shame, or maybe you just felt that you had too much to do to really be yourself. But it's very safe to do so now, pile 1. And maybe you know this, but I'm just, reminding you with a lot of love that it's okay to be yourself. And then one more card. The Holy Grail. Stop the endless searching, inner quest. I feel like for some of you, you've been searching and searching either, again, for forgiveness, for something. And I feel like it lies within you. Whatever you are looking for is actually within you. Both the security that you want and the protection you seek has always been within you. It's within your spirit guides as well, but you have to remember they are a part of you because we are interdependent energies here. Like they wouldn't exist without us and vice versa. Well, I feel like we still would exist, but maybe we would just have like a different way of viewing things. But this is where I leave it, my beautiful pile 1. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 2. If you chose the black tourmaline tumbled stone, then we have a reading here for you about what you are protected from, what angels, what guardians are, spirit guardians are watching over you, what are you protected from, what abilities you may have to be protected. So we're going to start with the card you chose. Oh my god, pile 2. We have Dear Woman, Retribution. I have to tell you this, the whole reason I was even inspired to do this reading, I was driving home and there's a lot of deer where I live, and it was crossing the road, and it was me and another car in front of it, and I was watching this deer walk by. And where I live, deer get hit a lot because there's an abundance of them. There's like, they're always running all over the place. But the fact that I watched this lovely sweet deer cross the road very safely because the car in front of me stopped in time and let it pass, and I was watching it walk by because deer are very dear to me. Pun intended there. Dear Woman is actually one of my sacred spirit guides because when I was going through a rough time, when I felt lonely, she came to me in a dream in the form of a deer. Like I had a dream. It was one of those weird dreams that felt so real because I was in bed and I felt like an animal in the bed. I thought it was a dog and I looked at it and it was a deer. And then it started like morphing into this human-like creature. So this pile, you're very divinely protected. You're very divinely protected. Maybe, I don't know if it's from Dear Woman herself. She is an indigenous myth legend. I consider her more a goddess or a spirit guide, a divine being, just because of my personal experience. But I feel like for a lot of you, you're very divinely protected from so many things. I feel like there have been things in your life that you've been able to escape, much like that deer I saw on the road earlier today. Because people have granted you grace, because the spirit guides are strong with you, your angels are strong with you. You could have ancestors watching over you. Very divinely protected. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional just seeing her card here, because this is literally the whole reason I even did this reading. But let's go ahead and get your cards pile 2. Get back to elemental. We have connection hands. A lot of you have been very divinely protected from some relationships or connections or friendships that would have been either detrimental to you or that would have ended up very, very bad. Maybe some of you have narrowly escaped some of these, but I feel like you've been very divinely protected from people around you. We have recharge. Some of you could use crystals to protect yourself. I know I do. I may carry not specifically black tourmaline, but black tourmaline is a really good protective crystal. But I carry several crystals depending on what I'm... Actually, no, I do carry black tourmaline. Never mind, pile too, yeah. I forget that I have a big old stone that I carry either in my pocket or my purse. We have number 20, St. Bridget, passion, fire, and growth. And Dionysus, ecstasy. Look, some of you have definitely been protected from relationships that could have ended up really bad. With connection and Dionysus looking like an F-boy here. Dear woman specifically, she protects women and children from men. She protects them from the violence of men. So I feel like for a lot of you, you've been protected in your relationships, in your marriages. Your children have been protected, or you as a child were very protected, specifically from like toxic masculine behavior or men in general. I feel like a lot of you have a strong spirit guide that watches over you, or you've had people just be very watchful of you as a child, especially. I don't know if maybe you saw a lot of this growing up when you were younger, but you've been very divinely protected from people who would otherwise have used you for their own gain, or who would have just used you and left you. Maybe you still were used and left at some point in your life in a relationship, but nowhere near to the extent where it would have harmed you in a bad, like in a more severe way. Because for a lot of you, I'm seeing a late glow up. Part of the reason some of you were more awkward, or maybe you considered yourself weird looking when you were younger, and I say considered yourself because you were probably always cute, pile too, but maybe you had, I don't know, like maybe you were a little awkward child and maybe you didn't look, attractive. I don't think you need to be attractive under a certain age. I just think you need to look, cute and as a child. But part of the reason you had a late glow up was because the people, either your spirit guides, the universe, your higher self, or the people around you, wanted you to come into full bloom later in life when you were able to protect yourself. I know that's a weird message, but that is coming through. Because I see you being very much in your power as you get older and as you're able to handle people. Maybe you had a lot of aunties or even, I don't know why I say aunties specifically. Maybe you had a lot of people in your life tell you to watch out for the behaviors of specifically men. I get that very strongly. And I'm not saying men are the only ones who can do this. Women can do this as well. But because of my viewership and what they tend to lean towards, I feel like this is what you've been advised to beware, or maybe even anybody older than you. I feel like for a lot of you, you're very protected, not just by your guides, but also the people around you. For a lot of you, like I said, I feel like you've been protected from certain connections. I look back at certain, I don't know why I keep sharing my personal details, but I think because I literally had this thought this morning to give me this specific reading inspiration. I was looking back at why certain relationships didn't work out, and my guides always tell me because that's not what you needed. Like their energy would have been awful, or they would have been an awful partner. They would have sent you spiraling into something negative. So why it never got past the flirtation, why it never got past, those first few texts or past a first date, it's because they were protecting you, pile two. Because I do get this a lot, especially in my I'll do live readings, or I'll even do personal readings. People want to know what's going to go on between them and somebody else. And I always get, you don't want to know about this person. And sometimes I get that message very strongly. And it's better to be safe than sorry. Even if you feel that they're safe, even if they're showing you that they might be a safe person, I feel like some people can put on a facade here. With ecstasy here, I do feel like some of you are also protected at celebrations and parties. And this could either be several ways. Either when you go to a party, you are only there when it's fun and joyous and not when it gets out of hand. Either you leave on time before it gets out of hand, or you end up not going and it ends up getting out of hand. Again, I feel like some of you may get confirmation from friends who were there. It's oh, it's a good thing you weren't there because then the cop showed up, or oh, actually it's good that you weren't there because, it ended up being, this and that. Another way I'm seeing this, maybe some of you have a high tolerance for specific substances. And I'm not saying that you can do these substances a lot. I'm just saying maybe some of you just naturally are born with like a high tolerance for example, wine, since we are talking about Dionysus here. Or maybe some of you never get hangovers. So I don't know. Some people are just born that way. They're weird that way. They're blessed that way. I do see a fiery energy to you. I feel like some of you have a bit of an attitude, and maybe even but this is a good thing, because it helps you sift through the people who would otherwise take advantage of you. I feel like some of you have a little bit of a fiery exterior, or you could even have like a resting bee face here, I feel like. And again, it weeds out the people who would otherwise take advantage of you or take you for a fool, and that's one way that you protect yourself. But yeah, with get back to elemental, another thing I'm seeing is that some of you are very divinely protected in nature, which would go along with your woman as well, because I consider her like one of the nature goddesses. Maybe the goddess Artemis is also one of your goddesses here, pile one, because she's also associated with deer. And I learned a while ago that the Greeks consider her the goddess of not just the hunt, but nature as well. And she is also a goddess of like maidens, so young women. She protects them. So maybe some of you also resonate with her as a goddess. And I feel like both your woman and Artemis could be some of your spirit guides. I'm not sure what Saint Bridget is a goddess of. I'm going to read for her just in case that resonates with anybody. Dionysus is, oddly enough, another god of nature. One of his forms is like partying in the woods and stuff. So yes, a god of parties and pleasure and wine, but also a god of nature. So from the book for Saint Bridget, God or Goddess Bridget is recognized as a Catholic saint and a Celtic pagan goddess who was adopted by the Christian faith. Follow your passion and the fire within. Plant seeds now for the things that you want to see. Patron saint of babies, blacksmiths, metalworkers, fugitives, midwives, printing presses, sailors, scholars, poets, and travelers. That's quite a range. But interesting as she said babies. Like I said, I feel like a lot of you were very protected as a child, especially if you were like a very, I think especially as a child, you were very protected from a lot of things. I don't want to go too deeply into it, but I think you can fill in the blanks here, pile two. With that said, let's move on to the tarot. One last thing with recharge, I was talking about crystals, but maybe some of you had protective jewelry. Like I'm thinking of a cross or any other sort of amulet that could be protective. I say amulet, it was probably not an amulet for you, but it could be seen as one. I'm thinking of rosaries as well. Maybe some of you wore a rosary for protection. Or beads. Maybe some of you still do. So for my pile two, what are you most protected from? What are you most protected from? We have the Five of Cups. Some of you keep looking back at the past and wondering why things didn't work out. It didn't work out because you were meant for better. Divine protection. Literally, rejection is divine protection here. I feel like some of you could have been rejected a lot. And don't get me wrong, rejection sucks. But when you see what that rejection was saving you from, I feel like you ended up with a better life now. Maybe because again, I'm getting childhood for a lot of you, but specifically like you were either like a rising star, or you were very talented, or you were considered very beautiful, like as a child, like a very pretty boy, pretty girl, and you wondered why you couldn't make it big as a child. Maybe some of you wanted to be like a child actor, child star, child model. But when you see how some of those people who had those professions very young ended up, I think some of you are kind of grateful that you didn't go through that. So maybe when you were younger, you had a talent that you thought would get you far, but now that you look back on it, you're kind of glad that you didn't. Again, I don't want to get too much into it, but I feel like you can fill in the blanks here, pile two. The thing is, you still have those talents and you still have that beauty. You still have that fire within you. So you could definitely, if you wanted to, try that very same thing now as an adult with more agency over yourself and with more awareness. What kind of people are you protected from? Knight of Cups and Six of Coins. So, like I said, for some of you, this is going to be men. Romantic partners for sure. Romantic partners who could have caused a lot of damage to you. Maybe some of you know this. Maybe some of you have been divorced now and you kind of agree with this. But romantic partners, it doesn't necessarily have to be men, but for the majority of you, I feel like it is. For some of you, it could have been women as well. Depending on what you're attracted to and what you were going here for. Now we have Six of Pentacles. Your monies and your assets are also protected. I feel like in the past, people may have tried to take your money, but for whatever reason, I'm seeing you being divinely protected in that regard. And I know this is odd, but I've literally seen where like land, houses, maybe vehicles. I don't see that as much as like money, land, and houses, or even like expensive things. Again, I'm thinking of gold jewelry. I will see ancestors that have passed maybe recently protect those things and keep them safe for a specific person. So if somebody tries to take it, or if somebody tries to, if we're talking about a house, live in it, it's kind of like they'll have a lot of bad luck. But the person that it's meant for, they'll have like the best luck with it. Because I've literally seen this in people's energy where their ancestors are holding something for them. Even if it's just their finances, sometimes it's even a position of like a job or a position of power here. So you're protected from people taking the things that are meant for you, and you're protected from partners who could have ended up being very detrimental to you or toxic. What abilities do you have to protect yourself naturally? We have the Four of Wands. You have star power. I keep seeing this. I feel like your joy or your charisma is kind of something that protects you. Or your ability to like take control of a situation, because I'm looking at this hand. It's like you take control of a situation. Some of you could literally be energy healers and you're not aware of it. Specifically with your hands, maybe you do Reiki, or you move energy and shift energy with your hands. Some of you have very gifted hands. Yeah, very gifted hands. So you could be in a profession where you use your hands and you notice that it brings you a lot of luck, or like you never get tired of it. Maybe where everybody else has hands that get tired really easily, yours don't. The more you work with your hands, the more luck and protection you have. Maybe some of you have strong Gemini placements, or something like Chiron and Gemini, because that rules the hands. But yeah, very interesting energy. Your hands are very powerful. Let's put it that way. Pile 2. Yeah, I'm thinking of like massage therapy, or yeah, anything with the hands. Again, Reiki for some of you. The next one is, what specific guardians, spirit guides, guardian angels, or gods and goddesses are watching over you, protect you? We have the World. You have a lot. You're very divine. It's like you have multiple people. You literally have either like all of your ancestors. I see a group of people, and they could either all be the same kind of person, or like from the same faction, I guess. I keep hearing that. Or they could be like just various everywhere. Especially if you grew up like praying to guardian angels like I did. They're all still with you. They're all still with you. And I've heard this. I remember one of my mentors saying that you can call upon however many number of divine beings to help you out. So if you ever feel like you're at a loss for something, don't be afraid to just, speak out to the universe. Hey, I would like to be sent as many possible divine beings to help me on this journey, on this task, etc. So you have a lot. The world is literally, I'm literally hearing the world. And it's not limited to people, or like people like humanoid creatures. I'm also seeing like animals, and for some of you, nature. Because the world, in certain decks, the world is like Gaia, like it shows a woman, or like an actual world with like a pregnant belly. So I feel like the world is your entire spirit guide. I feel like the planet could be your spirit guide, pile 2. And then anything else you need to know about how you're divinely protected here. 7 of Coins. You're protected when you work. You're protected when you're on a goal mission to do something. I know that seems odd, but you know how some people have tunnel vision whenever they're focusing on something? You're protected in that energy. So I feel like regardless of what you do, you're very protected. That's what I'm seeing with the Seven of Pentacles here. And back of the deck, Justice. Also, karma is on your side. I feel like in terms of legal issues, you're always going to be very protected, or you will always get like something that is fair and positive. I'm not going to say always in your favor, but like if you end up having to like pay a fee, you might end up getting to pay less, or you might get off with a warning. Like you always end up getting something better. And again, I am not a professional legal advisor, nor am I guaranteeing this for everything. So I'm not saying go reckless with whatever you want to do, but I feel like you do end up lucking out when it comes to legal situations here, pile 2. But with that said, let's get your closing messages, your closing advice. And I do want to thank you for clicking on this reading today and for visiting our sponsor if you did. I love working with them. Let's go ahead and get your froggy cards, pile 2. I am going to treat myself the way I would treat my best friend. So, 2 things. Either you've had really good friends growing up, or I do feel like for a lot of you, you've been very lonely when you were a child. Maybe it was hard for you to make friends, or you didn't have a lot of friends. Again, because the universe was kind of keeping certain negative energies away. Maybe some of you grew up in like a really rough or bad neighborhood, and like most people were either like really negative or had a tendency towards that, or you've been blessed with some really good friends despite being in a really rough neighborhood. If not rough neighborhood, then, you know, a toxic environment. We have, it's never too late to start over. Again, because childhood keeps coming up here, I feel like some of you feel like you missed out on something in childhood, but I'm hearing you can do it now as an adult. If not childhood, I am seeing more like college age, and now as like a much older person who's no longer in college age settings, you can still do it. We have the Rose Garden. Innocence, forgiveness, be gentle with yourself. A lot of you, your innocence was protected. Your innocence was protected, and maybe you had confirmation as you gotten older that you didn't realize that certain things are happening around you. And you were very lucky to not have to suffer the things that maybe people your age had to suffer. I feel like your innocence is very protected. Maybe it still is. Maybe you make it a point to cherish your innocence and you have like that inner child within you very strongly. But this is where I leave it, pile 2. Thank you so much for letting me read this energy. I'm sending you many blessings because I think I empathize with this one more than anything. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 3. If you chose the smoky quartz point, then we have a reading here for you about what you are protected from, whether that is from spirit guides, through the universe, or even just any abilities you have to protect yourself. So let's go ahead and start with the card you chose. We have Sekhmet, bravery. Oh, I love this. Sekhmet is a warrior goddess. What's interesting, I want to say she was bottom of the deck for one of the piles. Not piles, one of the decks. Yeah, Sekhmet. She was bottom of the deck for this one. I pre-selected these, but I just happened to glance at this when I was putting it down. So Sekhmet is definitely one of your goddesses. This could be confirmation. We have fierceness, destruction, and rebuilding. She's known for being a goddess of destruction, bravery, yes, but I see her as a war goddess, a warrior goddess. You're definitely somebody who doesn't put up with anything. And I feel like you feel you are your own best protector here. Let's go ahead and get the rest of your cards, pile 3. We have balance. I feel like some of you, when you were younger, or especially in adolescence, you were very feisty, very a little bit argumentative for sure, but like you felt that it was like you against the world. You felt like nobody could protect you except you. So I feel like part of the reason you're here is to see if there's any divine protection here for you, because you feel like you've had to always look out for yourself, and because nobody else would look out for you, or that you've always had to look out for everyone else. Strong firstborn energy here for a lot of you. We have wish. I think I need to censor this. This is so sweet. I'm getting Disney movies. You know how in Disney movies, like, they make you wish upon a star? That's what I'm getting. Like, some of you, especially in childhood, you were wishing for better things because you understood that a lot of the things that were happening around you were either not fair or it just wasn't right. I feel like a lot of you from a very young age had a very strong sense of justice. We have heart, love. You have such a beautiful heart, pile 3. We have Archangel Gabriel, self-expression, creativity, and the North Star. I'm going to put this next to wish because I associate this wish card with, it reminds me of the star in the tarot. And Thoth, wisdom. Strong Egyptian mythology coming through in this pile. So maybe some of you work with ancient Egyptian gods or they're very near and dear to you. But a lot of you, you're very intelligent. I feel like you've always been very smart. I'm seeing like, even when you were young, you could see through a lot of the BS that adults were trying to make you believe. I feel like I just keep getting an argumentative nature. You could have been that child in class, like you argued with your teacher a lot because they were trying to teach you something that you would consider BS. And you're like, no, actually, that's not true. I feel like this, and this. Like some of you were quite fiery growing up. I see that. And I actually love this energy. Like you were not putting up with any BS or any lies or any misinformation. And I feel like you are still like that to this day, but I think you've learned how to bite your tongue just a little bit to not get yourself in trouble. If it wasn't with teachers, maybe it was even with your parents or the adults around you. Like they try to tell you something and you're like, actually, no, this isn't this. Like, I love this energy, pile 3. So you definitely protect yourself. Like, I feel like the universe granted you a lot of wisdom, a sharp tongue, an intelligent mind to protect yourself and others, like specifically either from misinformation or from, I just keep hearing BS. Like, I feel like maybe you had to put up with a lot of nonsense from specifically institutions or older people, and you just were not here for it. Like, you didn't care for that energy at all. So you consider yourself a defender of the people through both your bravery to speak your mind and through your intelligence. Maybe people don't see you as intelligence. Maybe in class, I keep seeing high school for a lot of you, or whatever the equivalent of high school is for where you were. I keep seeing you being quote, quote, disruptive and maybe a little bit of a problem. And it's not because you were wrong. It's just because of what people consider disrespect. And maybe even you now do see it a little bit as disrespectful, but I'm also seeing you justify that as, well, maybe if they weren't saying lies, I wouldn't have to disrespect them. Interesting energy. I love this. I feel like I would have been your friend because I was the opposite. I was very quiet. And I always had friends like this who stood up for self-expression. I feel like maybe you had friends that you were always defending, especially like more shy, quiet types that you saw as like really good and pure-hearted and just as smart as you, but just in a different way. Because balance makes me think of Libra energy. So some of you could have Libra strongly in your astrological chart. And with love, I do feel like people like you, even though, again, I feel like the authorities hate you, but people love you. So I'm getting that very strongly for you, pile 3. What else wants to come through? You're very to the point as well. I'm trying to tap into like your higher self, but I feel like you're so strongly believing in yourself that you kind of don't even, like if you don't have any divine guidance protecting you, you're okay with that because you defend and protect yourself. But I do see that you are very strongly empowered by this fierce goddess energy. Even if you're a man, I feel like you're empowered by like that fierce mothering energy, if you will. I love this energy, but let's go ahead and move on to the tarot. Lots of stars. Some of you could be Aquarius. I do get that very strongly. And Aquarius is a sign of rebellion. So people could have seen you as very rebellious as well. So for my pile 3, even if you weren't like outspoken to the adults around you, maybe online you are, like maybe you have like websites, channels, or social media accounts where you share information about what's going on in the world. Strong air energy here for sure. Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. So what are you protected from? Pile 3. We have the Magician. Manipulators, people who would otherwise want to tell you things that aren't true. I feel like you are both the Magician and you defend people from like toxic magicians. Does that make sense? I feel like you are not afraid to have a good debate, to correct people when they are wrong, specifically when they are spreading misinformation about yourself, other people, or certain situations. You like to educate people as well, which would explain why I keep getting school. Maybe some of you are literal educators, or you work in some sort of educational institution. So I feel like you're very protected when it comes to speaking your truth as well. The Magician does rule the throat chakra, mercurial energy here. Like, you are very protected when it comes to the things you need to say. Whether that is, yeah, a lot of you, you're strong defenders. What kind of people are you protected from? Queen of Swords. Again, like people who lie, people who are not being honest. This could also be you. You are the Queen of Swords, as in you're empowering people with information and you protect them from people who are otherwise not saying the truth. Again, strong air energy here. Something about communication is very important. You are protected in speaking your truth. The third question is, what are some abilities you have that you can use to protect yourself? I feel like I'm going to say, again, your words, your mind, your wisdom, but something besides that. Let's get something. Temperance. Here's the thing. You really learned how to temper your way of communicating in a way that is more effective. Like, it wasn't enough to tell people the truth. You learned how to speak it or present it in a way that was going to be palatable to the people who have a hard time understanding it. Because it's not about speaking truth. It's not about telling them the honest things. Because I forget where I heard this, but it was like some sort of study that people did, that even when people are presented with the truth, they don't want to believe it. They want to believe whatever they want to believe, or whatever aligns with their interests. So you've learned a way to be able to get to people who don't want to believe facts or science or the truth here. You've learned, or you're learning to do something here to get to the people, like learning to speak their language, so to say, so that they can see the reality of a situation. Loving this energy, by the way. What are certain spirit guides, archangels, ancestors that are protecting you right now? This one I'm more curious about, because I feel your energy, but I'm not getting, like, it's almost like you don't want help, or you don't feel like you need it. Or maybe you're not the biggest believer in spirit guides. But we have, yeah, the Nine of Pentacles reversed. You're like, I'll do it myself. It's like, I don't need that. I got this on my own. Don't be afraid to reach out to divine guidance, though, Pile 3. I mean, you're at a tarot reading for a reason, right? Also, this is from Black Panther. This is what T'Challa wears. This is his uniform, the Black Panther suit. He wears that and it activates the uniform. So I am getting strong ancestral guides here. So definitely people from your past inspire you. Maybe you had a particular either patriarchal or matriarchal figure that inspired you to stand up for yourself, that they empowered you. So if you do have any guides, it's definitely those who have passed, who are looking down upon you and guiding you. And they can go as far back as you want, or they can even be more recent, but you definitely have strong ancestors with you. We also have the Nine of Coins, letting me know you prefer to do this alone, but let me tell you, you are very protected in speaking your truth regardless here, Pile 3. And anything else that we need to know regarding my Pile 3 and their protection, how they are protected. The Lovers. This is lovely. You're going to find people who really want to walk this life with you and believe in your cause. This could be platonic, this could be friends. You could have like a really strong friendship, a really strong partnership. I feel like people want to work with you. This could also be a romantic partnership for those of you who are seeking that, or maybe already have one. You are full of you're very likable, and people like you because of your strong integrity, your beliefs, because I'm hearing if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. You very much live by that. So a lot of you are blessed with being protected by people around you, either friends in high places or people who just really believe in your cause. So I feel like you're protected by the people who love you here, Pile 3. And back of the deck, the Devil. Yeah, it's almost like you're not going to say that you don't understand people and why they would want to give out misinformation. And I feel like you understand them, but you don't want to be like them, and you don't want to keep doing that. Because I could easily see, like, it's not that you don't empathize and it's not like you don't understand. You understand what they're trying to do, but that I feel like you're just trying to build a better world here. I literally see you fighting demons. I feel like some of you kind of have this idea that it's like good versus evil, but you're also understanding that it's not always that easy. Like, it's not that simple. It's not black and white here. You're fighting various shades of gray and lightening some, darkening some, etc. And Three of Pentacles. I do see you. It's interesting. I feel like you make a lot of friends, but you also just as easily may lose a lot of friends. But you're okay, because as long as you are out there being your honest self, I feel like you're okay. And you will have your ride or dies here with you, pile 3. So with that said, let's move on to some closing advice. The energy in this one is just so strong. My goodness. You could also be a very quick speaker or talker, because this is my shortest pile. So from the Froggy cards, the Little Frog's Guide to Self-Care. I am more than my struggles. Yeah, I feel like for a lot of you, you're kind of known for being this person who's always like correcting people or trying to set things right. Like, you're always trying to defend something. You're always standing up for something that people forget. You're also a person with your own needs and wants, your own emotions, and your own likes and dislikes. Maybe some of you are in the public eye a lot. And then we also have, even when I am struggling, there is an undeniable magic that exists within me. Yeah, because even despite this, like, there's magic within you. Look how there's like this rain cloud on this froggy, and this froggy is like surrounded by this little rainbow aura. It's like nothing can get you down. You are resilient, pile 3. And you are very magical in your own way. I feel like some of you prefer to work with like a manifestation or something along those lines. I feel like a lot of you just, you empower yourself. And then the last card. We have the Thorn, protection, boundaries, and clear communication. And I feel like I've been talking about this entire reading. So yes, you're very divinely protected. Usually because you have really strong boundaries with people, and because you communicate your needs, wants, you communicate very clearly. At least that's how people perceive you. And that's what you've been blessed with, clear communication, clarity as well. But this is where I leave it, my beautiful pile 3. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. And thank you so much if you've decided to click on our sponsor as well. I love working with them. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next reading. Take care.